have some big thoughts on AI and the legal practice. Technology in general has been on a big uptick.
There's just delays everywhere.
It was even beat into our heads in law school that all you need is your yellow legal pad and a can-do attitude.
My name is Christian Cooper, and I serve as corporate counsel.
Alison, and I manage Gemini's litigation support team. So let's talk about hybrid and remote work in law firms. What's your experience with working hybrid or remote?
I've been fortunate to do both. I feel like I was on the cutting edge, the COVID years when everyone did it.
Right.
It was a brand new concept for me. When I was much younger, I helped sell insurance, and that was the first time I ever worked from home, but that was a novel concept. I had a laptop and a cell phone, and I just dialed. Legal, I couldn't imagine what that looked like remote, except for when you had to do it. And then when I did it, you go, oh my gosh, it was pretty easy. Actually, we have a really cool photo of when COVID happened. My buddy was living with my now wife and I, and all three of us were working from home from a round table. And it looked like we had a tech startup because we all were plugging into our routers and the wall, and we had all these cables. And I had to bring home, and so did my buddy, our desk phones. So we had our desk phones, our laptops, and all the power cables, plus coffee and drinks. And honestly, you would have thought we were starting Google. It looked pretty cool. Now it's just a power cable and your laptop, and you can do almost anything remotely. So yeah, I think the work can easily be done remote. Some clients and practice areas probably want to be in person. I'm thinking of estate planning. So you client have something really personal you want to go over. Here's my life, how much I've made, how much I'm trying to protect, who I'm trying to give it to, and I want to have a conversation. Most people don't like to have that conversation over the phone or over Zoom. They want to come in and say, I have something really personal I'd like to get off my chest. And maybe, criminal defense as well, something you have to do in person. Most other practice areas can probably be done 100% remote. I know I even ran a solo firm for not that long, but it was a federal, fully remote digital office. And I had all my clients call me, and I'd bill them and do the work all over the phone. Have you, in your professional career, been able to work remote?
I have done both. And like you said, it was COVID. COVID was the catalyst to that. I never worked remote before that. Occasionally, maybe to take a meeting or when I had a day off or something like that, but it would have never occurred to me. And after COVID, when everybody was forced to go home, you had to think quick and you had to adapt. And it just made me realize that most of my job can be done remotely, easily. But I went back to the office pretty quick just because there's so much you miss out on. And
the camaraderie you miss out on.
Definitely.
Tell me what you think you miss out on when you're staying at home.
I think it hinders you in a way where it's you miss out on all those little conversations, those side conversations that you have in the break room or the water cooler talk. Basically, it's a way to get your face in front of your higher ups, people you wouldn't normally interact with, and I think that's so valuable. And you really do miss out on that when you're working remotely. Having said that, though, it is nice. I mean, there's definitely pluses and minuses. I can get a lot more done because it's quiet, because there aren't as many distractions or interruptions. But on the flip side of that, if I do need to get a second opinion or have somebody look at something really quick, it's not always easy to have to schedule a Zoom meeting for 3 days from now, when I could before I could have just walked to the person's office and said, hey, can you look at this real quick for me?
I'm trying to think of what is required being in person legal work that I would be doing in person versus remote. At a firm, very specifically, you have filings that have to go out. So you usually have a courier come up and pick up all your filings, or you can drive them to the court yourself, which I've done a number of times. So if there's an emergency situation, I'll go to my days working in probate litigation. You'd have a guardianship or conservatorship over someone who's alive, right? And something happened, they hit their head, a medical emergency, that you need to go file an emergency guardianship, an emergency conservatorship.
Right.
You have to go to the court, physically get in front of a judge and submit the paperwork.
Right. And if you're remote, especially if you're out of the area, how are you going to do that?
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, you have a
that's
printer at home,
definitely-
a scanner, you know, a stapler to staple everything. Hopefully you have a car working remote and you're able to drive to the courthouse. That stuff hurts if you aren't coming
Definitely.
into the office where a courier can come pick it up and do all that for you.
Right. Exactly.
What does your remote attire look like? And it's a loaded question because if you're like me, I have sweats on and a hoodie. Now it's turning into a meme here at Gemini Legal of how much coffee I drink. And I do drink a lot. And so when I'm at home, I get to make my coffee and I have a pot in the morning of coffee. And I look like an 8th grader dressing up for school. I'm essentially homeless looking. And that's what
Right.
I want to do my legal work in. If I'm going to be reading and writing all day long,
Oh, you want to be comfortable.
let me be comfortable. Let me be in my relaxed chair and my fake pipe and hanging out, right? Because I
Right.
do everything well. So what does your remote attire look like? Are you dressed up? Do you have like a routine? Tell me everything about that.
I do. Mine's funny. I'm usually in my favorite Care Bear pajama pants,
I love
a
it.
sweatshirt. I have a chair, a recliner that I like to sit in, and it's right by my front window. So and I live across from a park, and the bus stop. So I'm sure all the kids walking by, I'm the crazy old lady sitting by the window. I have a desk or a lap desk, big cushion that I have my laptop propped up on, and I have my dogs in my lap and
Oh, that's the
all
dream.
around me. So
That is the dream. I have 2 dogs. They follow me everywhere I go. And I will move religiously when I work from home. I'll be in my office we have like a sitting room area, the living room, and I will go from chair to couch to recliner to chair.
Right.
Also, when I have my headphones in, because I'm taking phone calls for a healthy period of the day, I walk maybe like 5 miles inside of my home because
you pace?
It's not a nervous thing, right? It's
Right.
that's how I communicate. I use my hands and my body, and so when I get on the phone, even when no one's there and I'm fully remote, I run around my whole house while I'm on the phone. I could not do that if I was here in the office.
well, I mean, you could, but
Yeah,
people might look at you funny.
Yeah, exactly. If my numbers are correct, more than half, more times than not, a law firm is requiring an associate to come in at least 4 days a week, if not 5. With that being said, again, if my numbers are correct, I believe studies show that a healthy majority of firms aren't even reporting this, or they're ambiguous in their offer letters of what
Right.
their expectations are of associates when they come in. It's kind of like unlimited PTO. That sounds phenomenal on paper. You're telling me if I want to take a year and a half off to go backpacking through Europe, I can do that because I have unlimited PTO? Well, not
so
really,
much.
right? Well, we kind of need you here. And you see that a lot in the offer letters where they go, yeah, it's a hybrid. It's if you can do your work remotely and you've been approved, we can do that. And then it
Right.
usually never comes to fruition.
Now, the approval process is the sticking point.
Yeah. You believe that you're really effective working remote, right?
Yes, for the most part.
Do you feel your attentiveness or your responsiveness to a task goes up home versus in the office, or it's about the same?
I think honestly, mine goes up personally because I don't want my employees, I don't want my team, my boss to feel that I'm not responding. So I make sure I want to be as responsive as possible. So I think
Privilege
I'm
to work from home.
Exactly.
And you want to show them you're doing a good job.
Exactly. I want to prove that I'm not taking advantage of that I'm still available, I'm where I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I feel like in the office, I'm not worried as much because I'm physically there. You can physically see me that I'm there. So I think personally, mine goes up. But I also find that sometimes when I'm trying to get an answer out of other people, it can take a little longer because I can't go walk over and see where they're at.
Yeah, it feels the denial of work from home when the work can be done 100% remote and that employee has the professionalism and wherewithal to work from home. The denial of that doesn't quite make sense to me in the legal world.
Right.
Why not? You're saving that employee time, which they can be billing more for your firm.
Right.
And if their responsiveness metrics aren't going down and clients aren't getting upset, what's the problem here?
Right. That would be the biggest concern I would have is, are the clients being taken care of? Are they getting responded to timely? But it also kind of leads to another question of, maybe you can answer this. Do you think there's any concern at all about the privacy? And like if now you're talking to your clients over Zoom and you can't really control their environment, you can't see, are they sitting in a room by themselves?
That's fair. You would probably need a sign off from your client. You need client buy-in. Mm-hmm. Either you would say, I'm willing to work with you, client, whatever you want. I'll bend the knee, so to speak, right. Or this is how I operate, and you want to be a client of mine or you don't. I'm going to be 100% digital and remote, and you're cool with that, and I can save you a little bit of money, maybe because I offer a flat rate because of that,
right? Or
my hourly is much lower. And if you don't want to be a part of it, then go find another attorney. So no, I don't see an issue with privacy if your clients know what they're signing up for, because that attorney-client privilege is theirs to breach. I'm in a safe room with a closed door. My privilege, your privilege, client, is not being breached on my end. So if you want to engage that attorney to do that kind of work, then yeah. And if you're taking the call at Starbucks, I can advise you not to do that, but if you so choose to do so, that's on you, client. So you need a lot of client training, setting client expectations early on. And if you do that, then again, is another issue where there's not a problem. You were also mentioning, as part of the client experience, their files maybe, right? That
right.
They have stuff for you to see. And usually, and this is again, when I was at a firm pre-COVID, everything came in physical. The client showed up, they give us a stack of papers, and we would scan that in to have it digital and then put it in a physical file for them. And their box is what we called it. You'd be able to pull it off a wall. Every client had a box. Now, if the concern is privacy, well, if you want to give me physical, we'll figure out a way for you to give me physical papers. But almost every single thing you touch now is digital.
It is.
So
it's all scanned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As long as you have agreements in place with your vendors, which would be your case management software, your practice management software, your Dropbox agreements, whomever that you're working with to get these documents in. And again, you're setting client expectation. The concern around attorney-client privilege being breached should ideally, perfect world, be non-existent. Now, you can't control every factor. You can't control a breach. Someone does get through the back wall of AWS, and everything's gone. It happens all the time.
All the time.
That's no different, I guess. I hope this sounds logical because it makes sense in my brain. It's no different than a client walking into your office and a gust of wind blowing all their papers out of their hands, and it's gone.
Right.
So,
well, I think
now what?
In this day and age, so many firms are moving away from paper at all. Mm-hmm. And just having everything digital, having digital files, it's easier to manage. You don't have to rent a storage unit to keep client files for, 7 years, 10 years that you have to keep them, or however long the regulation is. That takes a lot of room.
I think it's a false equivalency to think that paper is safer. Because if you are stuck with, I must mail my clients everything, and I certified mail, well, here's the fact. Mail gets lost all the time.
It does.
People go through your mail all the time. Identity theft happens more times than not because of paper mail, of what you throw away, that they can get back. So you would be hoping that your client shreds documents as well, whereas you can just pull access if you need to digitally. I think I'm leaning towards, right now, it's so much safer to be digital. You're probably so much safer than having physical mail, unless you're a spy and you're operating in secret languages and you're passing notes back and forth that no one can read. Sure. But attorney-client privilege should never be a concern here, as long as all of your ducks are in a row. I
think as long as you're using good software, good systems, good storage systems, reputable companies, then it mitigates your risk. But it's never risk-free.
No,
Nothing is risk-free.
It's going to be harder as a solo practitioner. It's going to be harder as a small firm that has 2 or 3 attorneys than it would be for a bigger. I say that because you as the owner carry so much weight on your shoulders of getting your clients' work done while trying to run a business.
Right.
Because the practice of law is very different
Very
than running
different
a business.
than managing
But
people.
these huge firms, the AM top 100 firms, have general counsels. They have a board of attorneys whose job is to run the firm as the business. That's a dream, and they have those luxuries. They have different headaches because they have more things to worry about, but they're able to afford that and have their other partners, their other associates run the business. Run the law practice while those people take care of the business stuff. It's tough being a solo practitioner. There's so much that fall on your shoulders.
I could imagine.
Here. Oh yeah,
Well,
it's unbelievable.
Just because you're a great lawyer and a brilliant lawyer does not mean you're a good manager. It does not mean you're a good business owner. Those are very different skill sets.
Oh yeah, there was a funny saying in law school that if you made A's, you were a judge. If you made B's, you were a professor, and if you made C's in all your classes, you made all the money.
How do you think that remote work affects the younger associates? So when it comes to career development, skill development, do you think it helps them or hinders them?
I want to say it drastically hurts them. It's a gut reaction, but they're smart people and they're working with people who are also highly intelligent. So I'm sure there's a way to bridge the gap there. But let's be frank, kind of like what we were talking about before, there is not as much of an opportunity as a junior, first-year associate, second, third-year associate to get in front of a partner, to learn how to get on a partner track, to learn how to run the business. You are a person who's stuck in a war room, who is redlining papers, highlighting papers, and giving feedback. You might not even have your own clients at this point, right? So I think it hurts a lot. And I had a mentor who was at the first firm I ever worked at outside of law school. And I was able to go into their office. His name was Daryl Williams, and he's an unbelievable human being. Daryl would be able to grab me by the back of my jacket or my tie and bring me to his office and say, this is how you do this thing. Or if I had questions about what I was doing, he always had the answer right then and there.
Right.
Well, if you're remote and everyone's on Google Chat or Slack or whatever chatting system, they don't get back to you right away, and having the back and forth is always delayed. I ask a question, I have to wait for you to respond, and then I have a follow-up question. Instead of that may take an hour or so, as opposed to a 30-second back and forth live that you're missing out on. And if you compound that 30-second learning opportunity as opposed to an hour, you did that 100 times, it would take you 300 seconds, 3,000 seconds, how to move the decimal over, versus the however many hours it would take for that. You learn so much quicker because there's someone there who can not just teach you, and not just show you the ropes, but honestly tell you when you're wrong instead of waiting for you to reach out to them. How do you see that?
I agree completely. I think so much of our communication is nonverbal, and you miss out on that because it's not even, like you said, it's not even just being able to go in and ask a question. It's being able to see the example. So you can see how things are done. And I don't even think it's limited to just career building. I think it's soft skills. It's things you don't necessarily know as a first year associate. You haven't necessarily worked in an office before, and you don't know the etiquette, and you don't learn that remotely. You learn that by seeing how it's done in person. And I think you miss out on a lot of that.
I had a managing attorney who was super educational for me. And I would come in with my pleadings and I'd be able to put it in front of her and she would read it. And instead of saying, you made this mistake, I got to get this live feedback where she would just go, why would you do that? And if I wasn't able to justify why, it was probably wrong. So she would ask me, why would you do that? Even when I was right. And that live interaction, I would get flop sweats and I would question everything I thought I knew about law every single time she asked me, why would you do that? But it was such a good learning experience. It's the hands-on that you do miss.
It is.
So I reserve the right to change my answer on remote work constantly. And I think remote work can be very good. Let me circle back to that. If you have the skills already, you can be remote, which is why we're saying, hey, if the work can be done remote and you're a competent employee, you should be able to do 100% of the work at home. But
exactly.
yeah, it might be detrimental to a first-year associate, second, third-year associate it's not necessarily the people skills as much as you're just not learning as quick.
You don't get the opportunities for those little interactions that might be short, but can be so meaningful for your development. And it's those things that you miss out on, and you don't know what you don't know.
I actually can't tell you how many times, it's a lot. I would give documents to a courier who would read them really quickly and go, oh, I need you to fix this thing or else it's going to get denied.
Right.
And I would go back and fix a period and reprint it and give it back to them. Imagine not 100% remote. They would just pick it up or deliver it. You have to wait a couple of days to get rejected by the court because your filing was wrong to redo it. And you're losing all of that time, where if you were in person, this could have been a 10-second fix.
Exactly.
I don't know if there's even any room in your law school curriculum to learn how to operate as an attorney from a remote perspective versus in person.
I think it depends, because so many more law schools are moving to hybrid classes and remote classes that in and of itself is teaching you
That's an interesting take.
how to do things remotely.
Because I'm thinking civil procedure, criminal procedure, property law, business organizations. I'm not taking a class on professionalism in the remote environment.
Right.
You know, maybe at the college level, I can take something like that, but I don't know that law schools prepare you specifically. I appreciate what you're saying. If you take a class online, you inherently are learning remotely.
Right. But if you're not,
then what do you do?
Yeah. I think, though, that mostly, especially after COVID, almost everybody is familiar or has had experience now with having to meet people over Zoom, having to use Teams, all of those things. So I don't know that there's anybody who hasn't experienced that.
Yes.
And so I think everybody's so much more open to it now, and it's so common.
That's
that
fair.
I think and the younger generations they grew up with all that technology. They grew up with that. So I don't think it's as much of an issue as it is maybe for those of us who are a little older who didn't grow up with that. That wasn't the normal.
I guess over your
course
summers,
of action.
you do a 1L summer, 2L summer at a firm. Maybe you can learn some of those skills there, but
Maybe.
You're right. At some point, from a generational perspective, it will be 100% the norm.
Right.
It's people like you and I who had to learn
Right.
that skill, whereas my brother and sister grew up in that. That's
Right.
working in an office is terrifying to them. And it's something to be expected between you and I.
Right, exactly. I prefer it. I prefer the hybrid. I like having the flexibility, but I wouldn't ever give up coming into an office.
No,
because
I
think
like
you
coming
miss
in
out too much.
saying hello to people
Right.
and hi, or having a really important meeting face to face to give that person
Exactly.
the respect of, this is important to you or it's important to me, and I want to give you the tip of the cap of let's meet face to face because it's important
Right.
to one of us. But yeah, I can't imagine as my brother and sister get a little older what their professional work is going to look like. Not just for them individually, but that generation of they went to high school online because of
Yes.
COVID. Now, and then college is so readily available remotely. Does that mean all of their careers and all of their jobs are going to be remote? Is everything going to be remote? I don't know if that's
I
terrifying or
guess it
really
depends
cool
on
that
your
we can do it.
industry. My son was the same. He did his last 2 years of high school online completely because of COVID.
Yeah, I guess there are professions that doctors, even though some doctors are going remote, you can do like a,
Right, you can do a lot remote. Not everything, but
I guess you can't be a chiropractor
no,
online.
no.
You say,
There's-
hey, turn your
There's
body this
still a
way.
lot you need
see if it
that
cracks.
that personal touch for and to be in person. But
Sure. But from the attorney perspective, I think a lot of the work you do can be remote.
Right.